Hi, it's Ron Coleman. I'm back in my hotel room here in Palm Beach, having left Mar A Lago by way of the 7-Eleven to give you my review of Dinesh D'Souza's extraordinary, depressing, as I knew it would be, new film, Police State. It's very powerful. It's important that Dinesh made this film because it does put together a lot of the things that are going on, that have been going on in the last 4 or 5 years. Although the perspective is essentially 20 years or so back, Dan places the beginning of the end of the freedom that we knew of with Ruby Ridge, Waco travesties. Then, of course, 9/11. It's a story that we know. It's a story that anyone who's listening to this, presumably, is aware of the issues. What the filmmakers have done, though, that's particularly important, is to weave together various phenomena: social media censorship, state involvement in social media censorship, repression of free speech, monitoring and surveillance of political opponents. January 6th, very compelling stuff on January 6th. Threads that everyone, again, who is thinking about these issues and involved in these issues know. And put them all in one place and explained how it is that we're losing liberty. Oh, open borders. It's a good perspective. It's worthwhile. It's almost encyclopedic. I would say that if you're someone who's been following these issues and you're any kind of an activist, or the film might move a little bit slowly. It could move a little faster. And again, if you're familiar with the broad outline of issues, it could probably be made a little bit shorter without substantial loss of information. Very compelling stories. A very compelling message. I had the privilege of sitting next to Michael Malice during the show, and his book, The White Pill, talks about what happens, how liberty will almost always win out over tyranny. In the Soviet Union, it took 70 years for that to happen. I don't have 70 years, and I don't want my time on this planet to end knowing that my children might be living in a police state. Really, everyone that you know should see it. It's not the kind of movie that is going to move people who don't get it already, because it's going to be impossible for people who are committed Democrats, liberals, to accept the information. I suppose for that reason, it might have been good if there could have been interviews with people who would at least try to explain the facts and revelations and connections that Dinesh makes in the movie. But I very much doubt that those people would have agreed to appear. Just as I can't get them on my podcast, the people on the left, by and large these days, will only agree to talk to people and to audiences that are within the silo. In any event, I'm really glad I went. I'd never been to Mar A Lago before, and it was certainly great seeing so many of my friends, many of whom I had never met in person, many of whom are, as I always want to say, much taller in person, some of whom are shorter in person. Nice to meet Dinesh in person after so many years. I reminded him I was at Princeton when he had been sent there by the conservative alumni of Princeton to set up the Princeton Review, which was an offshoot of the Dartmouth Review. I had a chance to talk to General Flynn, which was a great honor. A lot of people are going to appreciate seeing this movie. Listen, if you are indeed on the side of liberty and you haven't yet had the exposure that some of us have had to these phenomena, it's a good way to spend a couple of hours and see what's going on and see where it's going, perhaps to motivate you to further activism, sensitivity. It's an important work. I'm glad to have given the opportunity to see it at its premiere. Everyone would benefit from seeing the movie. Good night from West Palm Beach.